everyone, and welcome back to another Simply Dark episode. So today I am bringing you one of my favorite creepy cases ever. We are going to talk about the real life Corpse Bride. I don't know if you guys watched the animated Corpse Bride movie, but that movie, it's one of my favorite animations ever. I don't know why, I know it's creepy and I thought so too when I first watched it, but then I fell in love and it's one of my favorite movies out there. So in line with that, this case is also one of my favorite cases out there because it is so crazy. Everything begins with a radiologist called Carl Tenzler. He was a very well-known doctor in the X-ray field, and he was trusted and labeled by many as a good doctor. And although everything looked very well and perfect on the surface, underneath things weren't that clear. Carl had a very unusual infancy. From a very young age, he always said that he could see spirits, he could talk to them. So all these kind of things that made people think, something is wrong with you. I wouldn't label him crazy because of that, but at the time that was a very taboo topic to talk about, and I guess even today it is, and a lot of people will definitely think that, okay, you're telling me you see spirits, you need to see a doctor. Something is wrong with you. A lot of people think that way, and it's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But it was because of this way of talking that as a grown-up, he never told anyone how he felt. He was obviously a doctor, a man of science. He wanted to be credible. He wanted people to believe him. He had a reputation to maintain. So he never actually talked to anyone about this, about what he knew. It was all kept a big secret. Now, while he was still a young man, he decided to travel the world. He began with Europe, and it was in Italy that he met a girl that he believed to be an ancestor of his, that was part of his family many generations back. That girl ended up explaining that she knew the woman he was going to marry. She told him that he was going to meet a very beautiful woman with long dark hair, and that woman would be the love of his life. So from then on, that was exactly the kind of girl that Carl was looking for to have a relationship with. Now, he did end up marrying a few years later, but the woman that he got married to had nothing to do with the woman that he always thought he was going to be with. Basically, her appearance was nothing like what he has been looking for. But still, he decided to get married to this person, although he knew she wasn't the love of his life. Now, even though he was already married, his obsession to find his true love was growing bigger and bigger. He could not stop thinking about the words that the woman in Italy told him, which, by the way, later on, by doing this research, I found out that she wasn't actually a real person. She was a spirit that he was talking to. Basically, he just became obsessed with what this spirit told him. And although he was living his life in the background, his primary focus was to find this wonderfully beautiful, dark-haired woman. On the April 22nd, 1930, while he was working on a marine hospital in Key West, he finally met the woman he was looking for all these years. She was insanely beautiful with long dark hairs, pale skin. The exact person the spirit, described to him was there, right in front of him. This woman was called Maria Elena. She was Spanish and her beauty was very, very exotic, like something that wasn't usual at that time. So there's no need for me to say that he fell in love head over heels straight away, and the only thing on his mind was that woman from then on. Now the big issue here was that she was very, very sick. At the time, the world was thrown back by a disease called tuberculosis, which nowadays, thank God, is not so common, and it's something that today it is curable. But at the time, a lot of people were dying from it, and there was nothing you can do about it. So as a doctor, he knew that Maria had no way of getting out of that disease. There was no cure for it. Everyone was really afraid of it, but he wasn't ready to give up. He had just found her, and he would do everything he could in his life to find a cure for her so she could live a happy life with him. Now, as time went by, Carl kept giving Maria gifts, jewelry, flowers, which Maria would accept. In her mind, she was accepting it as a gesture of, good manners, not because she wanted a relationship with him. In fact, she was married. Her marriage wasn't in good condition. They were actually about to get divorced. Apparently, she got pregnant. They were both very happy, but then she miscarried the child, and her husband left her because of that. He really wanted a baby, and because she couldn't carry one, he left her alone. She wasn't with her husband anymore, but technically she was still married to him. That didn't actually do anything for Carl. He kept on giving her presents and trying to find a solution to save her life. He was completely obsessed with her, completely in love with her. He was ready to do anything for her, but that was a one-sided love, as she did not feel the same way. And she even started feeling a bit uncomfortable. She was starting to get scared every time he would come close. She just thought it was very weird and odd the way he interacted with her when they had no relationship at all. Like, she would say hi to him, "How are you? Bye, have a nice day." That was their relationship. Now, despite all his working around trying to find a cure, obviously he didn't, and she ended up dying for much of his despair. He was there at the funeral, he took her flowers, he paid his respects, but he did not look like a person that had just lost the love of his life. After the funeral, her body were kept locked in some kind of room in a cemetery. I don't know very well how it works or how it worked back then, but from what I understand is in the cemetery they had a small room where the corpse was kept, and you can just go there and leave flowers and do your prayers, talk to the person, stuff like that to make you grieve better, to help you with that. And he used to go to that room very frequently, but what he did with the corpse was very upsetting. So he didn't just go there to leave her flowers or to lighten a candle. He would actually interact with the corpse. He would get the corpse out of the coffin, he would dance with the corpse, he would have dinner with the corpse, as in his mind she was still alive because he could talk to her spirit. In his mind, by doing this, by keeping himself close to the corpse and by talking to the corpse every day, dancing, singing to it, that would make the spirit of Maria come back to the body, and they could then live happily ever after. And in the middle of all of this craziness, let's not forget that he was still married. Now, this is the point where everything gets even crazier. One day, he's there, dancing with Maria's corpse, when he suddenly realizes that she doesn't want to be there anymore. She wants to go out of there and live with him. So that's what he does. He takes her corpse to his home. And this is exactly the turning point of this story. Now, obviously, as you all might be screaming at me right now, we all know what happened to the bodies of people that died. They start decomposing. And that was exactly what started to happen in his house. And obviously, he started to making little changes to the body to avoid her disappearing forever. He removed her eyes and changed it into, fake ones, like glass eyes. He would remove the little bits of skin that were rotten and actually put some silk on top of it, so it would still keep that texture, almost like skin. And he also used cloth hangers to keep her bones in place, to keep the body structure so it wouldn't, just fall apart. And also because, you're dead, your body also starts to lose, volume. So you get very, very skinny, which is completely normal. So he also tried to stop that from happening. So what he did was he actually stuffed the corpse with fabric. So he used loads and loads and loads of fabric to stuff the body so it would still look like a full body. If that makes any sense. Basically, he was trying to avoid the unavoidable. He was trying to make her look like she was alive when we all know she wasn't, and he was just being a very creepy person, if you can even call him that. Now, I think I don't need to tell you guys that she didn't look anything like her anymore. Obviously, he changed everything. Her body was changing anyway, because that's just nature, that's just what happened. But then with all the alterations he was doing to keep her being her, it just made it worse. But for him, she was still fine. She was still beautiful. She was still the love of his life, and he would just take the corpse and dance around the living room and just have a normal life with the corpse. Obviously, the neighbors started realizing that something wasn't right, something was weird about this person. And the neighbors also started to realize that the thing that he spent so much time with wasn't actually a doll, like at first they thought that it's just a doll. It was in fact a corpse. So people started to talk, and people started to say, no, actually, it might be Maria's corpse, because the whole town knew about the obsession he had for that woman, and everyone started commenting on it. So all these rumors ended up being heard by Maria's sister. Obviously, she wasn't happy about it. People were talking about her sister corpse being taken away by this crazy man. So she decided to check for herself. First thing she did was get into the cemetery and check there. And obviously, the corpse wasn't there, as we know. And then after the shock of not finding the corpse there, she decided to go to Carl's house and confront him, because he would be the only one that knew what happened to the corpse. So she went there, and she was able to confirm that her sister's corpse was in fact in his living room. Now tell me, how crazy is this? Obviously, she called the authorities straight away. They were able to confirm that it was in fact Maria's body. They ended up doing an autopsy on the remains of the corpse, and they also later on found out that she wasn't just a companion to him. I really don't want to be disrespectful, so I'm trying to be aware of the words I use, but yeah, he was having a physical relationship with her as well. After the authorities were done, they took it back to the cemetery, and this time they decided to actually bury the body, and they did not put a name on the place that she was buried because obviously they didn't want this to happen again. They wanted her to rest in peace, so they thought that not putting her name in there would be the best thing. Now, if you thought this story was crazy up until now, wait until you hear what happened to him. Basically, nothing happened to him. He was very, very well liked in the town, so he was never persecuted, and he kept on living with his wife. Yes, that is right. Now, tell me guys, what do you think about this story? Do you know anything else about this story that I didn't mention in the video? If yes, please leave it in the comments below. Let's have a discussion about this, because I'm seriously so curious about this whole thing, that any new information or anything that I don't know, I would like to learn more about it. So like I said before, if you have any comments or if you know anything about the story that you would like to share, please leave it in the comments below. I will for sure read it and reply to you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If yes, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps my channel to get out there. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and join the family if you haven't already. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next episode.